Ladies and gentlemen, let's make welcome Abiola Chamsalami, Executive Business and Life Coach.
Prophet.
Yeah,
Evangelist, Reverend,
No, Prophet Justin,
Yeah.
because you are prophesying that I'm making a lot of money.
Yes, you are making impact. I'm
know,
making money as well.
Dollars, in pounds.
Pounds,
Yeah.
and
So as you
yes.
are watching, come and bring the money so that his
Are you
prophecy
sure?
will come
I
true.
hope you're not killing us.
Biola, emotional intelligence
Yes.
in romantic relationships.
Some people need to pen that down. You know, the topic we had before now, I could see he asked a lot of questions. I'm happy he's learning. And this, he needs it, is supposed to be a tip of the iceberg. So let's help a brother.
I said it.
I mean, I'm not surprised anyway, Uche, that again in 2019, well, I'm already in 2020. In 2019,
All things never
they're still
change.
doing the same thing to Justin.
All things never
Justin,
change. They say bad habits die hard.
I sympathize with
Simple.
you. I sympathize
I
with
know you know the angle I'm coming from.
you. Now, of course I
And
know.
I can really understand that at this point in time, these are things that he needs. And I'm happy. Bella, please shoot.
Okay.
This guy needs it as a business coach, as a life coach, as a relationship coach. Please help a brother.
Okay.
Maybe he'll understand the
So
language.
this conversation is not about Justin.
No, we see him as a point of contact.
Hallelujah. Tell her.
This conversation
You know,
is about
thank God you've seen the revelation.
it is
Go ahead, Biola.
it is
Don't
about
mind.
every human
being, of course.
Yeah.
But isn't
Every-
Justin as a case study?
It's about every human being. You know, we have a book coming out shortly.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
titled The Magic of Emotional Intelligence.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, it's coming out in August.
Okay.
And I'll just be sharing some thoughts,
Please go
from
ahead.
from the
Yes.
book. You know, one of the greatest deceptions of all time when it comes to romantic relationship is captured in the sentence, I love you. You've said it before. You have
She's
been,
not said it to me because
been-
you know she would never have meant it for.
you have been told before.
Like, seriously, I said a lot to my husband. I said it this morning.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
like I mentioned, one of the greatest deceptions of all time is in that sentence, I love you.
Okay.
There's even another one that is worse than that. Guess what it is?
I don't love you.
Can you guess?
No, I don't want to. I'm not good with
beautiful.
guessing.
It is I love you too.
I love. Yes. Something just have to say it.
It's
back
almost
out of
like
courtesy.
yes, yes.
You know,
Yeah, I love
deception
you
is I
first.
love you, but a greater deception
I love you too.
is I love you too.
You won't blame people now when they say, okay, for instance, sorry, I'm not butting it. You know, when someone says to you, I love you, you know, they expect something in return, or even something better in return.
I think
when
it's-
you don't really mean it, you shouldn't say it. Is that what you're telling?
But do you know why it's a deception?
No.
It's because we think love itself is a feeling,
That you have never felt before.
but it is not not the feeling. It is about the choice that you make. Love is more of a choice than a feeling. Now, so talking about emotional intelligence in romantic relationships,
Yeah.
since love is choice and not a feeling, it means if I'm choosing to love someone, I should know who the person is. I should know, and by knowledge, we're not talking about knowing the person's name, knowing the
No,
person's
yeah.
tribe, you know, knowing where the person works. Nothing external. It is about the person on the inside. Because emotional intelligence is simply understanding my own emotions, managing my own emotions, and seeking to understand and manage the emotions of other people. So emotional intelligence in romantic relationships says 4 questions. Question 1, do I know myself? It's a place of self-awareness. So do I really know myself? I'm calling another person to join me in a relationship. Do I really know who I am? And by who I am, it's not about my name, not who my parents are, not whether I'm a Nigerian or not. It's about my emotions, how I react, the things that make me get angry. None of us is smart. We're all as smart as the influences that we open ourselves to. So I am a product of nature and nurture, which is where I'm coming from. Nature, which is my genes, biology. Nurture, how they have grown me, you know, since how my parents taught me, how all the other agents of socialization taught me. So what is the result? Who have I become by the way I've gone through all of those things? That is one. I need to understand that. And I need to consciously manage myself. Before now even talking about bringing another person in. Relationships will continue to have issues. In fact, relationships will continue to be worse into the future. Because rather than spending time understanding, rather than the individual spending time understanding himself or herself before even understanding the other person, people are always pointing finger to the other person. So when there's an issue in a relationship, we are quick to point the finger to the other person without necessarily looking at the man or the woman in the mirror. Justin, when you look at the mirror, who do you see?
I see myself.
Uche, who do
I
you
see me.
But most times, we don't see ourselves. We see the other person. In fact, there's somebody listening to what I'm saying right now, and the person is not listening to what I'm saying for himself or for herself. The person is listening to it to find fault in what the person's partner is doing. So, if we want to have good relationships, peaceful relationships, long-lasting relationships, it's important that the individual starts by focusing on himself. The conflict that we have in this our union, how am I contributing to it? Rather than that person is the cause of the conflict. So emotional intelligence is saying that I should understand myself, I should manage myself, I should understand the other person, I should manage the other person.
Okay.
Well, but the thing is that understanding oneself, is it about understanding what you should do, before you get into a relationship, understanding what you are supposed to have or what you have become over time? Because a lot of times, a lot of people don't even know what they really are. They tend to believe in what they feel they should be. Most times they are living in denial just because of what people have said or life itself. So exactly how do you discover yourself?
Excellent. It's about opening up yourself to proven information. So the internet is a wash of different kinds of information. And people who don't even know anything will contribute to say something. Some of them will copy one quote somewhere and start to say. Some of them will start to share what they call their opinion, where they are supposed to shut up and learn. So one of the ways to discover myself is to open up myself to proven information. And it's in the pages of books. It's also on the internet. I can make a recommendation. There's a book by a gentleman called Tim LaHaye. She wrote that book over 20 years ago. The title of the book is The Spirit-Controlled Temperament.
Yes.
It talks about temperament. It talks about sanguine, choleric, melancholy, and phlegmatic. Right? He says that there are 4 kinds of people. In the 4 of them, he talked about the unique strengths, and he talked about the areas of improvement. So when you read a book like that, you would see that, oh, this is how I behave in this situation. It means maybe I have a combination of this, that, and that. And it doesn't only talk about the strengths and the area and the weaknesses, according to him. Weaknesses, I don't believe in weaknesses, by the way. He talked about the strength and the weaknesses. He also talked about how to now improve on those weaknesses. You see, because effective relationship starts with the individuals in the relationship. So when you're a choleric, for example, or you're a phlegmatic and the two of you come together, how do we still manage each other based on what we know? But most times we don't think about that. We just say, oh, I like him. And most times the people we claim that we love are based on our preferences. There are certain people, Uche, that you don't look at. There are certain men that you don't look at twice at all. Why? It's because you are not naturally drawn to that kind of person. It's not emotional. It's about your map of the world, your view, the way things should be, the way a man should be to you. So this man, this male species, doesn't look like that man. And because of that, no matter what the guy says, you cannot say you like him, let alone say you love him, let alone attempt a chemistry. Chemistry doesn't just happen. Chemistry happens because the mind is open to accepting the person. The same way, Justin.
True.
As you are, there are some ladies, no matter how the person looks, you will not be naturally drawn to the person. It is because of your preferences. There are some people, no matter,
stuff like that.
yes. So there are physical. There's the physical bit of it. Why are you looking like that? It's not a sin. That,
no, it's good. No, why is the specs?
No, it's not a sin. So you have specs. Let's say for a man, for example, you want her to look in a particular way. A particular height is your preference. The body shape is your preference. The different statistics as well. It's your preference. It's not right or wrong. But what we're saying is that while you can attract that body, you are drawn to that body and you say you love that body is not the person. The person is actually inside. That is why you find people who are looking drop dead gorgeous, but they are the rudest person in this world.
Yes.
Now, you may not be able to cope with that rudeness and even know the source of the rudeness. For some of them, the person is rude because the person thinks the world revolves around him or her. Somebody did the song, "World revolves around your bum bum." Anyway, so that is why some are like that. But what we are saying with emotional intelligence is that I need to first know me. Based on what I know about me, manage me. Then know who this other person is, and then manage the other person for effective relationship. Anybody can like anybody. Anybody can be in love with anybody. In fact, anybody can have sex with anybody. And ladies, let me say this: the fact that the gentleman, shows up and is looking like some part of his body is, is responding to you, does not mean that response is uniquely for you. He would have responded like that, not his choice anyway, it is biology. He would have responded like that when it's with any lady that he likes that probably looks like you. So it's not unique to you, which is that we have those choices to make, but we need to seek to understand, manage ourselves and our partners.
I see.
Bella, I'm going to go and ask the same question what you mentioned when you started, the deception and the greater deception. I love you too. Someone says I love you just because they feel they do love you. What do you do? What do you respond to, even if you might really like the person so much and you don't want to hurt your feelings? What do you do in return?
There's a phrase, simple.
Thank you. You're looking for trouble.
But I think you rather be truthful.
Because you need to be mature with the way you deal with these things. You don't want to make a commitment on falsehood. Because you know in your heart, and especially if you're a good person, and by being a good person, I mean you are the kind of person that you want to make sure you deliver on your promise. Right? You are not part of the people that will that will overpromise and under-deliver. So you want to be careful. The fact that somebody says, I love you, the mature way to respond is, one, to ensure that you're not hurting the person's feeling. So, wow, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. You don't have to jump into saying, I love you too, because it doesn't connote any truth in it.
But how about statements like this? I think I've heard one. It said, I love you, and said, oh, you're also a lovable person too.
That's part of the deception. That's deception. Because the person doesn't want to say it. And it doesn't mean everybody saying it are not being deceptive, by the way. So, again, somebody says, I love you. You don't necessarily feel the same way, right? You say thank you.
But you can say it when you feel the same way.
Of course, when you feel the same way. So
it doesn't necessarily mean that for every response to I love you, and you say I love you too, doesn't mean that the other party is deceptive.
No. It doesn't mean the other party is deceptive, but you want to be sure that you are being truthful. But most people are not.
Some people are not even sure about what they do feel. This happens a lot in relationship. You are in a relationship with someone, and she tells you that she loves you, and you guys started maybe like some few months back, and you're just trying to get to know, each other better, and trying to see how it goes and works, and she tells you she loves you, and she's expecting you to be very lovey-dovey, and you come back and you say, thank you, I do appreciate it. And she starts with all the spammers and all the solar motors and everything. What do you do?
So people have unrealistic expectations.
Yes.
When people are in relationships, A and B, A is expecting B to behave in a particular way.
Yes.
B is expecting A to behave in a particular way. Whereas what will make the relationship solid is both of them are on the same page.
Okay.
But both of them are not on the same page. So the lady is saying, I love you, and is expecting to hear I love you back. Of course, the player will say, I love you back. And say, oh, I love you too. Oh, you're such a darling. And say all these sweet, nice things to her.
Nothing.
But it's just on the lips. And of course, down the line, you will see the result. Because you see, many of us, we don't even understand the word love. When you say, I love you, we don't understand the word love. Love in itself is extremely unconditional.
Well, some people think love is a feeling that you feel that you have never felt before, and that you're feeling at that moment, and you feel you should express that feeling.
And so if it is a feeling you've never felt before and you should express it, then there will be chaos. Because you can have that feeling for a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And for anybody. You have that feeling for anybody.
Okay.
So, and it's important for us to control our feelings. We talk about knowing me, managing me. Even if you feel that way, why don't you check? Give it a second, give it a thought before you express that feeling.
So can we say that is what they call crushing on someone? You know, I've heard
Yeah.
people, you know, you just say different languages these days, and people just, it's still the same thing. You say, I'm crushing on this person. And would it be proper to say that even when you think, because some people say, when I met my wife, or when I met my husband, I knew he was the one. But I still think that time is the only thing that can tell. So would you say that no matter how assured you think you are, no matter how much you believe so much in your instinct, time should be given? And so when we say time, how would you, what's the measurement of that time?
Okay, before I talk about time, it's important for us to pay attention to the people we listen to. Because, so somebody has been married for 10 years and the marriage seems to be successful, and the meaning of that success is the person has children. All right, that's the meaning of that success. Not necessarily because you sleep in their house and you know the quarrel that they are always having. And the person appears publicly like he has it going on and everything is fine. And the person will say, oh, the moment I saw my wife, I knew she was the one. And then you are there, you're a young person, you are right there, single, you're not even thinking about marriage as well yet. And then you're thinking that your template for finding your wife is the moment you see her, you will know she's the one. It is not true. There are a lot of lies out there. There are a lot of lies, people who have platforms that they throw out there just to get people's attention. So no matter what it is, time is essential. Now, there is actually no hard and fast rule that talks about that would determine how long time it will take. It is all about the two people. Some people recommend a minimum of 6 months. Some people will say 12 months, but I think it is about the two people. But I also think that in as much as it is about the two people, that I would say 3 months, you know. Yes, which is you are friends with this person for 3 months. And not just about the length of time, it is about the depth of the relationship as well. Not just that we met 3 months ago, no. Between day one and the last day in month 3, what were the things that you engaged in together? That's a critical question, not just about the length of time, but about the quality of time spent together. And you don't know someone by just talking to the person on the phone. You don't know someone by just seeing the person on social media. You know someone by one-on-one close interaction over time.
All right, Biola, fine. I would let you go in a bit, but you talked about your book in person. Just can you give us more light on that? Throw more light on this book of yours.
Okay, so it is titled The Magic of Emotional Intelligence.
Magic.
The great thing about the book, you know, somebody asked me that I hope this book is application-based and not just knowledge-based. I said, yes, of course. So the book is not just a book, it's even like a workbook as well. So it is The Magic of Emotional Intelligence, and it looks like emotional intelligence, looks at emotional intelligence in 3 broad perspectives. The first one is, it talked about negative emotions and how to manage them. So anger, hatred, pride, all of those things. You know, there are some people, they say that once it is 12 noon and they get angry, that everybody knows in their family that that's how everybody gets angry. And they cannot even control themselves. Once they are angry about something, they have to show it. You know, there's an example of someone, the person got so angry, the person broke all the sliding doors all around. The person now woke up, said, are you okay? And they said, you did this thing. The person denied it. It is because in that frame of mind, the person has forgotten everything that person was doing. So there's the bit of understanding negative emotions and how do you manage them. There's the second bit of cultivating positive emotions, which is the thing of on courage, on confidence, you know, happiness, pleasure. Then the third part is how to apply emotional intelligence in different scenarios, in the workplace, in the family setting, with you and your spouse, you and your relatives. So it is an application-based book.
Please, when is it out?
So it's out this August.
You need a copy, Justin.
And you need a copy too.
I'll get a copy.
And I need a copy too.
You must get copies.
And everybody watching, you need copies too. So
before Biola starts selling his books, you know, on air, before they start charging it, that's the size of the show for today. Thank you.
I'm sure somebody's asking for social media handle.
Okay, go ahead. You can do that. Down is free. Go ahead.
You know, so for the person asking for social media handle, on Twitter, it is Abiola Champ, just one word.
C-H-A-M-P.
Abiola Champ. That is Abiola, then C-H-A-M-P. On Instagram, it is Abiola_Champ. You know, and on Facebook, it's Abiola Champ Salam. Just send me a message that you watched this, and who knows what we may have in stock for you.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Abiola Champ Salam.
Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you.